let's get right into it. So let's go with Eek the Cat first. This is on Fox Kids, and this went from 1992 to 97, created by Savage Steve Holland. This was a cartoon that I remember everybody was talking about it, and no one seems to have talked about it since. There was even a video game, and it was big enough at the time, you know, and it just feels like it's really become obscure since then. The next one up was like a spin-off show, but it was, I think, part of the same block, or it was, you know, it was kind of two shows in one, and this was The Terrible Thunder Lizards. It was a segment inside Extravaganza. This ran from 93 to 1997, and the two cavemen in this, I remember vividly quoting, one of them said,
"When does the hurting stop?"
And we quoted that all the time back in the day. I quoted this for years, but this feels like no one's really talking about that or thinking about that at all since then. Next one up is brand spanking new Doug on ABC. So Doug from Nickelodeon was bought by Disney, and then Disney sort of reconfigured a little bit. They made Roger rich, and there was a few other things that they changed in the show. And Disney bought Jim Jenkins' whole studio and relaunched it for ABC. They even recast Doug, and they produced the theatrical Doug's First movie, which much to my chagrin, I've yet to see, even though I saw every single episode of Doug on Nickelodeon when it aired, many times over. Doug and Rocko's Modern Life were my favorite shows at the time, probably. Brand spanking new Doug was this whole other Doug. Moving on, again, a lot of this is from Fox in this tier. Taz-mania, this was Taz, the Tasmanian Devil from Looney Tunes. He had his own show. This also had a video game. It was pretty big. It went from 91 to 95. Some of the people behind Tiny Toons were on this. Taz could speak normally when he wanted to, which I think was new at the time. And it was the first time Jim Cummings voiced Taz. Now to Tier 2. Next up is Duckman, Private Dick, Family Man. USA Network, March 5th, 1994 to 1997. 4 seasons, 70 episodes. Created by Everett Peck from his 1990 Dark Horse comic with Jason Alexander, who was in the middle of Seinfeld still at the time, voicing this, you know, lewd duck detective. It was animated by Klasky Supo. If you're an elder millennial, you've seen this more than likely, the Klasky Supo logo. This show, Duckman, was probably not obscure at the time too much, but it does feel like absolutely no one talks about it anymore. And I remember watching it and really liking it. Then there was Bump in the Night, ABC Saturday mornings, 94 to 95. This was a stop-motion show about a sock-eating monster called Mr. Bumpy. It grew out of ad bumpers made for ABC Saturday morning lineup. It was canceled once Disney took over ABC. Next we have Wild West, Cowboys of Moo Mesa. ABC Saturday morning, September 12th, 92 to December 4th, 93. 26 episodes, created by Ryan Brown, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles comic artist. There was a lot of people trying to recreate the Ninja Turtles at the time. That's why you had Street Sharks and Biker Mice from Mars and all of this. Like, there was, people kept trying to do this. And Konami famously even has a game that only came out in the arcade, never had a home release. This one had kind of a cool look, and there's a comic book series out now, and this was, I think this is okay, but for me personally, I just don't think like cows are that cool. I think the Ninja Turtles thing got lucky because turtles somehow ended up being cool looking. But with the cows, I mean, they have a horns, which is cool, but I don't think it's really like that cool, personally. But the video game was cool, it was well made. Pro Stars, September 14th, 91 to December 7th, 91. 13 episodes from Deke, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson, superhero athletes. This was part of NBC's lineup, retooled to meet the new FCC educational content mandate, and part of the network's last Saturday cartoon slate. I remember seeing this a little bit. Again, this is why I put this in this tier. I think I saw it once and forgot about it forever. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, CBS Saturday mornings, September 93 to January 94, 13 episodes by Nelvana, based on Mark Schultz's comic Xenozoic Tales and developed by screenwriter Stephen E. D'Souza, who picked up the TV rights after producing the Capcom arcade game. Now we're in Tier 3. We're getting really deep now. Moving on to Road Rovers, Kids WB, September 7th, 96 to February 97. It was a show about 5 anthropomorphic Cainosapiens, assembled by a scientist they called the Master. 1 season only. Sky Surfer Strike Force, first run syndication on Bobot's Amazing Adventures BKN block, September 95 to October 96. This was Ruby Spears' final original production before the studio closed. Heroes riding rocket-powered flying surfboards. This is one of those where I feel like it was like kind of almost there. If it had another pass at it, it might have made it. It's just my personal opinion. It might have graduated out of obscurity, but yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of a little weird. Moving on, Vortec Undercover Conversion Squad, first run syndication in Claster's Power Block, October to December 96. Only 13 episodes. This ran alongside Reboot and Beast Wars. It was essentially a mask reboot. Vortec toys were lower quality retools of Kenner's old mask figures. The Bots Master, first run syndication by Saban. September 93, 40 episodes, French-American-Canadian co-production from Jean Chalopin and Avi Arad. This is the same Avi Arad that would go on to become the future head of Marvel Studios. Each episode had a 3D laser time segment meant to be watched with special glasses packed in with the toys. That is kind of cool. Again, this is one I probably saw like once in 93 and then forgot about it forever. Moving forward, Bureau of Alien Detectors, September 96 to December 96. 1 season, 13 episodes, produced by Saban, basically X-Files for kids. This one does look cool. I probably would have watched it, but I don't think I ever saw this one at all. And I was really watching a lot of TV. Next one, very similar, Roswell Conspiracies, Aliens, Myths, and Legends. First run syndication, August 27th, 99 to June 3rd, 2000, 40 episodes. The premise was banshees, vampires, and werewolves were all aliens living on Earth. It carried one whole story arc across 40 episodes into a 6-part finale. That part's kind of cool. Again, this is one that I'm pretty sure I never even saw a single frame of. Cyber 6, Teletoon from Canada and Fox Kids US, 1999, 13 episodes, animated in Japan by TMS. This is the same studio that brought us Batman the Animated Series, or at least some of the episodes. This is based on an Argentine comic. This one apparently also was pretty adult, I think kind of heavily edited for the American audience. Hysteria. Okay, so everybody knows Tiny Toons. Everybody knows Pinky and the Brain. Some people know Freakazoid.
How toyetic can you get?
Toyetic is a word created by marketing people.
Which was my favorite. And I feel like absolutely no one knows Hysteria. I saw this 1 or 2 times, full episode. I remember it was an episode about Leonardo da Vinci. This had 65 episodes. It ran from 98 to 2000. Apparently it went over budget. I remember this show was pretty funny. If you ever liked Tiny Toons or Animaniacs at all, you'd probably like this show. It was educational, but it was definitely a lot of fun. Capital Critters, ABC Primetime, ran from January 28th to March 14th, 1992. Steve Bochco, Hanna-Barbera show about mice and rats in the White House basement. Part of the post-Simpsons rush of primetime cartoons alongside CBS's Fish Police and Family Dog. Only 7 of the 13 episodes aired on ABC. I saw the premiere of this. I was with my family in a hotel room, and it was like sort of a big deal premiering that night, I remember. And I remember never seeing it again. No one talked about it. I remember being like, it was okay, you know, but I definitely watched it first air, right when it aired. Next up, The Incredible Crash Dummies. This had 1 episode, 1 pilot. This was a Fox Kids TV special, May 1st, 1993, developed by the Eek team of Savage, Steve Holland, and Bill Kopp. It was billed as the first full-length television cartoon using CG. This was built around Tyco's toy line, and that you could learn a lot from a dummy seatbelt PSAs. Okay, I had this. I had the VHS. I probably saw it on the TV special on TV first. The toys were great. There was a huge push. They had a lot of toys. Great boxes, everything. Had a lot of the toys. And as a kid, you couldn't really tell what was going to be the next big thing or not. You just got excited for whatever was coming out. So I kept waiting for new episodes, and it never happened. But I watched this over and over. This one is one of the most obscure, even though it had a lot of toys. I think there was also video games too. There was seemingly a huge push, but they never got past that pilot. Just toys, video games, one show, known IP, nothing. The next one is Yucky Duck, Cartoon Network, 1995. This was a Pat Ventura creation who starred in 2 What a Cartoon shorts, Short Orders and I'm on My Way. Short Orders aired March 5th, 1995, and I'm on My Way aired August 6th, 1995. They're both written and directed by Ventura as backdoor pilots for a full Yucky Duck series. It never got picked up. Yucky Duck is a hapless waiter-chef at a filthy roach-infested diner called the Greasy Gallery Cafe, and he botches every order. I like to tell people that Cartoon Network didn't have its own content for a while, and there was a push to make that, and they were successful with Johnny Bravo, Powerpuff Girls, and Dexter's Lab. But there were some that didn't quite make it, like Yucky Duck. But I remember they used to play this not just once, but several times. I used to watch this like whenever it was on. I was a fan of this. You could tell it wasn't as good as the others, but I was still into it. So this one kind of holds a special place in my heart. We also have Barnyard Commandos, first run syndication in 1990, animated series based on James Groman action figure line for Playmate Toys. The idea here was that it was kind of a botched military experiment that leaked radioactive material that farm animals ate, and that's what mutated them into anthropomorphic paramilitary troops. These were like war pigs and sheep going to war on the farm. I remember watching a little bit of this and being excited about the toys. We had a couple of the toys, and probably this was a thing we talked about in school for like 2 weeks, and then of course we moved on. This was also probably another attempt at trying to follow the Ninja Turtles energy with sort of I guess they're not hybrid, but they were animals doing cool stuff, you know? Crow. This one is probably, for me, the most obscure one on the list. ABC Saturday Morning, September 18th, 93 to October 94, produced by the Children's Television Workshop and Film Roman. The Sesame Street people made a stealth educational show teaching physics and engineering through a boy and a woolly mammoth. Alright, and that is pretty much it. I know there's a lot I missed. Let me know what I missed in the comments. I'll probably do a part 2. This kind of video was a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of Toy Galaxy. So anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and check you later.